Hi everybody, so I want to welcome you to the channel. And thank you to Steve of Integrative Preparedness for sending so many people my way. Glad you're here, and I hope you find something of value on the channel. I know that this year I've been a little political, and I'm not usually like that, but this year the current climate has threatened the freedom of people to homestead, to grow their own food, to feed their families the way they see fit, to raise animals without the government wanting to register every single one of them. So it's really gotten to where there's no getting around it. You have to talk about it. You can't put your head in the sand. But you know, homesteading, if you want to call it having a mini farm or whatever you want to call it, and you don't even have to have a farm. You can homestead in every kind of conceivable way, from having an herb garden on your kitchen windowsill, to having raised beds in your backyard, to having a quarter acre of a garden, to having small livestock. There's all different levels of that. But they all boil down to one thing: being independent and being self-sufficient to whatever degree that you are able. Homesteaders are producers. They're not consumers as much as other people, because they grow what they consume. They don't buy it off of a store shelf, which makes it even more, it made me even more angry when a grocery store manager recently was quoted as saying, if you don't find what you need on the grocery store shelves, go to one of your neighbors who has stocked up for a year and ask them for it, because they're the reason our shelves are empty. Which, of course, is a bald-faced lie. That is not why the shelves are empty. If I had 100 packages of toilet paper, it wouldn't be because I did any of that buying this year. It would be because I bought an extra 1 or 2 packs every time I bought groceries over the last 4 years. So it's not the fault of homesteaders and preppers that the supply chain broke down. This was all planned. But you know, there's also been a different mindset in the government from the Depression days to now. Back in the Depression days, they said, have a small flock of chickens for your family. Raise and preserve your own food. And they said, save your seed corn. Now, if you save seed corn, you know, you can go to jail for that. We have someone we know in this county who is a corn producer, and he says, oh my God, you can't, we got the most wonderful corn. I don't even know what it is. It's the sweetest, most wonderful corn. And he raises many acres of corn. He can't save the seeds. It's illegal to save your seeds. We've done a 180-degree turn here. So the government, self-sufficiency is the enemy of government. You know this. It's just common sense, because if you don't need them for something, you're free of them. You know, everybody can homestead. This channel started out frugal living, purposeful living, living simply, a simplicity of life, not, you know, curbing your wants to go into line with your needs. And you know, actually, that becomes a habit over time. You find out that all your wants that you had when you were in your 30s just aren't important anymore. That you just don't have that desire anymore. That they don't mean anything. So, you know, you can homestead where you are. You can grow some food where you are. It may not be on a huge scale, but I would say don't homestead where you are if you hate where you are in the first place. Find somewhere you'd rather be first. And you know, it doesn't have to look the same for everybody. You know, you don't have to have 10 different kinds of animals and milk a cow and all that. You know, you have to know your limitations. That's one reason that we have, for our livestock animal, we have only poultry. I have chickens. I have raised rare breed chickens. I don't have hatchery birds. There's a very specific reason for that if you look at my chicken videos. But I raised chickens, and I have at one time had guineas too. I plan to get some more guinea fowl in the future. But we can handle poultry. Poultry are one of the easiest animals to manage. There is a learning curve. You do have to do it a certain way. You can't just throw them somewhere and give them corn and expect them to thrive. That's not the way it works. Funny thing, there's an old commercial. There's two old ladies, and this old lady didn't understand. She didn't understand Facebook or Instagram or anything. She had literal pictures plastered on her living room wall. She goes, "I have all these people. I just put these people on my wall." Her friend goes, "No," and she goes, "Well, I'm just taking you off my wall." She rips her picture off, and the lady says, "No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works." So, you know, you have to make your homestead be what you need it to be. You can grow an amazing amount of food on a 1/4 acre lot as long as you amend your soil. Home Depot bagged potting soil is dead soil. That's not going to help. If you want some good soil, come get a big bag of poopy barn shavings from me, till it in your garden, let it compost over winter, and you will have some good soil. But homesteading doesn't have to look the same for everybody, but you need to be as self-sufficient and as independent from this grocery store chain and the government as you can be. And of course, you know, then you got the people who say they don't want to do that. Do you want to eat? Because it may come a time where you're going to have to. You don't have to have 10 kinds of animals. You don't have to have 40 acres of land. I have just under 5.5 acres. I do all my gardening and everything I need to do on 2.25 of those acres. The rest, part of it is pasture, and part of it is just basically wild with some trails cut through it. It's 2 other lots basically. But you do what you can where you can, but you do as much as you can. And speaking of can, you really should learn to can food. Learn to preserve and can food. If you want to learn about canning, I would advise you to go to the Needy Homesteader, K-N-E-A-D-Y, the Needy Homesteader, Heather in Michigan. Oh, God bless her, she's in Michigan. Wonderful lady. Does a wonderful job of explaining canning. It's really not as difficult as you think it is. And it just requires certain equipment. And this year, it was almost impossible to buy canning supplies. It was insanely difficult. But that alone tells you you need to get on the stick and get going with it. You know, self-sufficient living means you're cutting the apron strings. You're doing something for yourself and your family. And the food that you grow, I don't use fertilizers. The only fertilizer I use is the chicken poop from my chickens. So I don't use chemical fertilizers. I don't use chemical pest control. I don't do any of that. You know, there's all kinds of ways to do things. So the food that you grow is so much healthier. There's no additives, preservatives, artificial colorings, none of that stuff in the food that you grow, and it's fresh. It wasn't canned 2 years ago. It's there. It's right there. And it goes, sometimes it can go right from your garden right to your table. I grow herbs. I dry my own herbs sometimes. I have bags of certain herbs. I use herbs for medicinal purposes. I have plans for a bigger herb garden next year for medicinal tinctures and teas. Learn to cook from scratch. Yes, that's important. Convenience foods are the worst thing in the world. They have so much garbage in them. Too much sugar, too much salt, too many artificial preservatives, all kinds of additives in there that we don't even know how they affect us cumulatively with the poisons in our air that we're breathing. Cooking from scratch, you don't have to have 5 different foods at a meal. All you have to have is 1 or 2. And that's all you have to do. So, I told you before that, sorry, my husband opened the door. I told you before that I felt one day it was going to become illegal to own more land than your fair share. And of course, it's not going to be your idea used for what your fair share is. It's going to be the government's idea of what the fair share is. And part of that is Agenda 21 that was started, I think, in the 90s. Agenda 21's goal is to control all the land, all the water resources, all the plants, and all the people. And part of that is to move people into the cities. and out of rural areas. Easier to control them when they're all corralled, right? And also, when you're not in the rural area, it makes it a lot more difficult to grow your own food. They're going to put restrictions on you where you can't raise your own poultry for ridiculous reasons, like they're dirty and they produce foul odors. And you walk in my chicken barn and you don't smell anything. You might smell something in the morning after they've been there all night long pooping right under where they're roosting, but my chicken barn is clean. Chickens are clean animals. They are not dirty animals. They spend an inordinate amount of time grooming themselves. Now, even a dog is going to stink badly if you put him in a little pen and you don't ever clean it out and he craps in there constantly. It's going to smell bad. Chicken poop don't smell nearly as bad as dog. Ugh, it's disgusting. But Agenda 21 has that in mind, to make property ownership basically not a thing anymore. I said one day land was going to be your wealth again, just like it was when the country was started. Land was wealth. Now, you own land, you are wealthy. I'm a rich person. In fact, in the future, I don't know how much future I have left, being 64 years old this year, but I'm going to be a very wealthy person. I've thought about leaving here. It's hard to find this much acreage anywhere else right now because prices have skyrocketed with all the people coming out of cities and coming up here and buying everything up. People buying sight unseen from other states, buying all around me because I live in a rural mountain area that was usually is well known as a second home community. So a lot of vacation homes here in the mountains, but a lot of people are moving up here and the prices are going up and things go on the market and they're gone in 5 minutes. So it's really getting difficult to buy anything else. But I have what most people want. I have a cottage-style cabin with land, and I have the ability to do pretty much anything I want. The only thing I can't have in this particular is technically a subdivision, although it's very loose. I mean, there's no homeowners association. There's nothing except you can't put a mobile home on one of these lots, and you can't have pigs. Other than that, I can have anything I want. I have goats, chickens, cows, horses, anything. So, because of this Agenda 21, and that is whether you think that's fantasy or not, that is the mindset of government, to bring everybody into a more controllable situation. And what does it have to do with politics? Well, I'm telling you what, this is it. You have been distracted for a while with all the stuff going on this year. In the future, you may have to be growing your own food, or you may have to go hungry. You may have to depend on government handouts. That's the last thing you want to do, because when they give you something, there are always strings attached. Remember Ronald Reagan's famous saying, the scariest thing you can hear is, we're the government and we're here to help. Government never helps. So that's what I want to say today. Think about where you are and start thinking about starting growing food if you have not done it already. And I keep chickens for not just eggs. I don't use them for meat. I don't kill my own chickens. The only one I've ever actually killed was, besides euthanizing one from being sick or something, was if I have a mean-tempered rooster. But that doesn't happen here anymore because temperament is inherited. And I have bred from very easygoing roosters for a great number of years, and they're all nice. So I don't have any evil roosters to execute. So I don't use my chickens for meat. I could, but who wants to put a 12-year-old chicken in a pot? It's not exactly the best meat. And mine lived to 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. Most all of them now that I don't have any hatchery stock. But I have them for that, for eggs. I have them for fertilizer. Chicken manure is hot manure. It has to be composted a little bit. You can't just throw it on a plant and it'll burn the roots. It has to be composted a little bit, but it has made the best gardens. When we moved here, this was all woods. Up to the house, all woods. There was one small little, like a 20 by 10 foot section near the house where we now have our, what I call my house garden, that is fenced up close to the house, where he had tilled something in order to maybe grow something, but he didn't cut down any trees, so there's no sunshine. Everything we've done here, all the land clearing, all the gardens, all the buildings, we put up here. we developed this into a working mini farm. And so I can grow anything I want here and have any animal I want here except a pig. And I think I could even have pigs because I can't imagine anybody even knowing they were here. And there's nobody to police anything. So start thinking about this, how they are trying to eliminate land ownership. And thinking about what you can do on land, your own land, that you cannot do in the city or even in most of the suburbs. But I think most of the suburbs, if you have a raised bed in your backyard, as long as you got enough sun up there, I think you can grow pretty much anything. And find some manure from a local farmer. Get somebody's poopy chicken. When somebody cleans out chicken house, get bags of that stuff and till it into your soil, and you will have excellent soil. So that's what I want to say today. I'm really kind of scared that how fast this is going to be moving forward. But everybody right now has been so distracted with this election stuff. But you know, you gotta take care of business here, because you may not want to do this, but do you want to eat? You have to eat. And why would you let your health go down anyway by eating their food? Because God only knows what's in this stuff anymore. We don't even know what's in it. When they, the meat labeling thing, remember that? First they had to say where the country of origin was. Then they said, oh, you don't have to say that. Now they're talking about that they take chickens and send them to China to be processed and send them back. I can't think of anything more disgusting and horrific and inefficient. So you don't even know what you're eating anymore if you buy commercial feed. Buy local if you can. Grow your own if you can, and learn to preserve it. You can dehydrate things. You can freeze dry them, although freeze dryers cost more than just a basic dehydrator, I think. And you can can them, and it's not that difficult. There's a learning curve, yes there is, but it's not that difficult. It really isn't. You just need to learn the basics, and I would definitely recommend the Needy Homesteader for your canning, and also Homestead Heart, which is a lovely couple from Atlanta that moved down toward Macon and started a homestead, and she does a lot of nice canning videos and grows gardens and has poultry and a livestock guardian dog. But this does relate to what's going on in our government right now. That's why I've had to talk so much about it lately. Homesteading, frugal living, purposeful living, living simply has been my slant here on this channel forever, and I do a lot of chicken videos because I'm considered a bit of a chicken expert, as far as I've owned chickens for about 15 years. I was a member of backyardchickens.com for about 15 years or more now, and I actually moderated that site with a team of other moderators for a period of 5 years or so. I think it has about 400,000 members now. So that's why so many chicken videos. But y'all, that's all I really have to say today. And it's kind of cold out here, so I'm going to get out of here. But think about that. You need to start thinking about that. Yes, freedom is important, but you know what can be taken away from you? The ability to do what I'm doing right now. Growing my own food. Having a few chickens. Just the ability to eat what you want. You don't want to be in a position one day soon when you have to say, please sir, may I grow a tomato on my deck? But it could be coming. Just think, okay? And once again, welcome to all my new subscribers. I'm so happy to have you here, and I hope you find a lot that will uplift you and motivate you and make you think. In the prepper community, in the homesteading community, we don't always agree on every little thing, but hopefully it's enough on my channel that you'll get some value out of it. Okay? Now stay safe and stay warm and stay frosty. Not literally, but you know what I mean.